welcome to Open Mic episode number 3. I'm your host, Olivia, and I'm here with 2 other hosts from the music department. They're going to introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Malak. I'm in second year commerce.
Hello, my name is Jillian, and I'm in second year sociology.
So yeah, this is super exciting. We're finishing up the school year. So this might be one of the last Open Mic episodes in a while. Hopefully not, but it's going to be a fun time. We're talking new releases in indie, and we've got 3 albums. So the first one's Who Cares by Rex Orange County. Then we're going to talk about Pebble Brain, released earlier this year by Lovejoy. And then When Smoke Rises by Toronto artist Mustafa. Let's get started with Rex Orange County.
To get a little background story about this artist before we dive into the album is Rex Orange County, also known as Alexander James O'Connor.
Oh, wow, that's a cool name. I always hear Rex Orange County and I'm like, where did this name come from?
It's really interesting because it originated from a nickname he got from a teacher as, what was it? OC for his last name, O'Connor, which, fun fact for the viewers, is my grandma's last name, too. So
It's parallels.
Whoa!
Parallels. Shout out to my grandma if she's watching. And he's an English singer and songwriter, and he's under Sony Music Entertainment. And
nice.
He grew up in the village of Greyshot.
Where's that?
It's near
Somewhere in the
Halsmere,
United
Surrey.
Kingdom? Is he from your...
Rex Orange County's British?
Or like...
Don't ask me about geography, guys. My geography is so bad.
It's been a minute since I've been in a geography class.
Oh my god.
I'm asked to write all the provinces of and territories of Canada.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know if I could do that. Also, did you know Alaska, so irrelevant, is part of the United States? And it doesn't even touch the United States.
Yeah.
At any point.
So far away.
It touches the Yukon. I really hope that that's correct. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I like to think so. We'll have to Google that later.
We will check that later.
And when he started to become more well-known is a lot of people started hearing him in actually Tyler, the Creator's album Flower Boy in 2017. And Tyler, the Creator's actually featured on one of the songs. I believe it was Open a Window.
Yes. I like that one.
And so to now dive into the album, since I already mentioned Open a Window, the song reminded me a bit more of Tyler's style.
Yeah.
Which I really liked because sometimes when an artist is featured on a song, it's their verse is added, but it's the style of the artist's.
Yeah, Tyler does a lot of mixing, and I thought that there's a lot of mixing going on in this song, but also I found the whole album very cinematic, cinematic style music. So even in Open a Window, it starts off with a string quartet and then piano accompaniment, and it's very melodic. And Tyler, the Creator, when he does his part, he's rapping over a string quartet, which is kind of fantastic. So I totally get what you mean, but I really did like this song, and it had such a low synth kind of bass line to it that just carried it through. And yeah, good one
for sure. And I thought as a general thing I noticed throughout the album is the use of instruments, of specifically strings. I felt there was a lot of violin, especially in the intros, the opening. There was one in particular, it was Worth It. That one had a very long intro.
Oh yeah, that one I was listening to, and it reminded me of this is a really old song, but Etta James released this song At Last, and it just has this really long drawn out classic opening, and then I was hearing that and I was oh my gosh, it's being brought back, which maybe is a stretch, but that's just where my mind went.
With the instruments used in that one, for me, I'm a huge Studio Ghibli fan, and I felt near the end of the intro, it almost had a similar style.
I got that, yeah. I can see that.
There was a little vibe of that, and it just
honestly,
clicked for me
yeah.
for that.
Because Studio Ghibli is so colorful and like I don't know, like when I think of Studio Ghibli movies or films, I'm like in a like field of flowers, like, and like everything's very like green and like colorful and just kind of like relaxing and like windy. And yeah, so I honestly like went there when I was listening to the album too, and I didn't realize that until you guys like just said it. So wild.
I really liked, personally, 7 a.m. I feel like it was a really good change in overall vibe. Like, I felt like it was almost a little, like, jarring, just how kind of different it was. And, like, I related a lot to the lyrics, just, like, of wanting to get up every morning and being like, I'm gonna be, like, a new person, but, like, you can't forget, but, like, you also just can't, like, completely forget everything about yourself and, like, your past.
That's so true.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow, this is really relatable. I also really liked Shoot Me Down. It was really nice just like not growing at the same pace as the person you're with and like knowing kind of the end is inevitable, but you don't want to end it just yet. And I feel like a lot of the time I was listening to the album and I was just like in the zone, like vibing, and then he'd like pull out like a really deep like sad lyric and I'd be like, oh my god, like I have one written here. What if this heart breaks into something that I'm unable to heal? I was like taken aback. As I was vibing, I was like, oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah, like those two songs you mentioned, he touches on really important like topics. Like honestly, the like reinventing yourself, I feel that a lot. Like I sometimes wake up and I'm like, I want to change like this and this, and I want to like accomplish these things, and like I think it's so easy to want to just like forget about like previous versions of yourself, but it's so important to like remember those versions of yourself for like growth.
Exactly. You can't just like throw it away.
Yeah, you can just pretend like part of you never happened, unfortunately. I liked Keep It Up, which is the first song. I think it's very uplifting, and he kind of tries to get the message across, like, focus on you, keep going, breathe. Like, I know it's frustrating. Like, I don't think he's referring to anything specific in particular, but just, like, everybody, like, trying to get on with their, like, lives, accomplish things, like, grow. It can be, like, obviously very difficult, and I just thought it was, like, a good way to start off the album, because he does definitely get into some, like, deep but yeah.
It was definitely a really nice start to the album.
Yeah.
Because it's very upbeat and it has just that positive message. It's like, oh, keep going, keep going.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, keep your head up.
The entire album, like, Rex Orange County is like a storyteller almost, like, and the music and the like sounds just kind of accompany his storytelling in like a really nice way. And yeah, I find his voice in itself just very comforting and like pure.
Yeah.
It's
also like naive, sort of. Like he kind of has like a childlike voice. I don't know if it's weird.
I literally
to
wrote
say.
down that it gives me sweet vibes. Like it's just like sweet.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like very chill, easygoing.
Yeah.
But then really pretty like interesting and kind of heavy subject matter. So the conflicting vibes.
It's like those deep lyrics are wrapped in a present.
Yeah.
With like his voice kind of
like in a pretty
just, like,
little
make
bow.
it more
How did it catch
sweet.
you like a hug? When your like heart is breaking.
It's like he's holding your hand when you're listening to the album.
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
So the next album is Pebble Brain by Lovejoy. It was the last EP that they released, or sorry, the second EP that they released in 2021. So Lovejoy is a British indie rock band who officially started releasing music in early 2021. But the lead singer, Wilbur Soot, has been releasing music years prior to that. It consists of Wilbur Soot, the lead, Joe Goldsmith, who's on guitar, Ash Kabas, I can't say his name, Kabasu on bass, and Mark Boardman on drums. So yeah, it's a second EP. The Wilbur Soot, the lead singer, sort of described the album as a break-up album to the entire country of England, and sort of them like moving on from bigger and moving on from England and on to like bigger and better things. There's a lot of references to British politics, which I'm not well versed in at all.
Yeah, I did not catch those references.
I didn't catch it either until I was watching some interviews and stuff, and he was talking about it. But it's just a really like overall like good vibe. I feel like you don't need to know British politics at all to listen to the album.
I mean, I didn't, and I enjoyed it. Yeah. I like the vocalist. He's super witty and like expressive, and his voice is just also like raw, so like you can get the emotions across that he's feeling. And like overall the album was really high energy, and it reminded me a lot of like early like Blur, the Arctic Monkeys, and also the Kooks. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Kooks, but there's like, I was like, whoa. There's a lot of similarities here, but like they were also just like super like unique with their sound as well. Like in Oh Yeah, You Gonna Cry, well, this gave me heavy Kooks vibes, but I loved the high energy, and just there were all these like untimed shouts and like comments from the back, like from the band itself, that got caught in like, or captured in the making of the song, which I thought was really cool. And I just love the like jangly Brit-pop guitar they're kind of like bringing back there. We don't get to hear that in a lot of like newer like rock bands. Also, like they're kind of like, although the album is about kind of like leaving like England, I guess, they're one of those like, there aren't a lot of like newer like Brit-pop rock bands like these days, so I like to hear it.
For sure. And with Oh Yeah, You're Gonna Cry, it almost reminded me the song you would hear in a sequence or a montage in an early 2000s film. It kind of gave me that vibe. I don't know if that was just me.
Yeah, it's like really interesting.
I'm always thinking movies.
No, yeah, I get that. I always hear like I always imagine like a kind of Avril Lavigne-esque kind of like artist in those early 2000s movies, like in the intro.
Yeah, a lot of their songs is like from the perspective like You'll Understand When You're Older is about some member of Harlem, but it's also about like essential workers, but it's from the perspective of like someone's who has a coworker, and it sort of gives the impression that she's in like an abusive relationship and how that's like manifesting into her work life. So it's not necessarily like you're going to be learning history when you're listening to the album, but it does also, there are songs that come off like really, really almost sarcastic, like condescending, and I think that is also because they've taken inspiration from the Arctic Monkeys as well as more like comedic singers, which is why it's like really like witty.
Yeah, I have witty and comedic under here, like my notes to just describe his voice. Like it was so like sarcastic and like kind of like tough, like just like
lots of like emotions like, into it, which I personally enjoy when like the music's more like raw and like fun, I guess. But yeah, I feel like I would recommend it if you like the Backseat Lovers, obviously the Kooks and Arctic Monkeys. I feel like there's sort of a song for everyone. For example, one that I really latched onto was It's All Futile, It's All Pointless, because the first line is, I lost the passion that comes with living since I started university. And when I first heard that, I was like,
yeah, that's really close to home.
Yeah. So that was instantly a favorite song. I was like, he gets it.
He's one of us.
He's one of us. So I feel like there definitely is something for everyone in this EP.
Yeah. Sorry. My favorite one was I liked, first of all,
I'm getting choked up.
The bass line in Concrete, amazing. And also my favorite song was Perfume. I knew this song, like I knew it already. So like when you sent the album, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this song. So I love the chorus. It's super catchy and intense. And I love the stop and go in this song. Like it's kind of like they're just like random breaks within like the guitar strumming and like the bass line. Mm-hmm. And like then the like vocalist brings it in again. So it's very like it keeps you on your feet. And I just also like love the raw like intense emotion of this song. Like he's like clearly singing about someone that like I guess I want to say is with I Can Still Smell Your Perfume. I think it's like someone he clearly like cares about deeply is with like another person, and like he's just kind of like going through the difficulties of like caring so deeply for someone who's like mistreated by another person, and just like recognizing like how important they are to him. And like the perfume thing kind of got me. It's like more and more I realize like how important scents are, and that sounds weird, but like people's smells that you care about can be so comforting. And I don't know if that was weird to say on air, but like,
no, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, like when you borrow someone's sweater that you like,
Yeah.
or like that you're in a relationship with and it like smells like them, it's like comforting.
100%. No, you're right. It's not weird.
No, totally, because it's like if they have specific cologne, I realized that like that song reminded me how I started to notice that when I moved away from home for university, because it's like if I say, I don't know, like bread, or it's like, oh, it reminds me of this bakery or back home.
Yeah.
And so even though the song's not about missing home, it's more about like a loved one, I got like a sense of a breakup maybe.
Yeah.
And so just like that song kind of reminded me of my own personal experiences with just how important scents are and how it can take you back to things.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
People say I have a scent and it smells like patchouli oil. I don't know. I've heard that from like 7 different people. I don't know if that's like good or bad, because some people hate patchouli oil.
I like, don't even know what that is. Like, I don't even know.
It's like an essential oil, but not one of the popular oils.
I have here, just randomly look at my notes. Also, they sing in a British accent.
Yes. Yes.
So
I love that.
I remember at first it kind of put me off because, like, aren't you supposed to lose your accent when you sing? So, like, whenever I would hear someone sing in a British accent, I'm like, they're literally putting it on
It's a show.
on purpose. But it really works. You can give it a pass if you are not into that kind of...
Yeah. I mean, like, if you don't like people singing indie rock in British accents, I don't know what's wrong with you, but like, don't listen to this album, I guess, in that case. I like it.
I really liked it. No, it was really good.
Because since he like sings so raw, I think
That's
probably
probably
what
it, yeah.
retains it,
Because it's like kind of his voice,
He's
too.
not like a
Like,
vocalist. He's more
Yeah.
just like... I kind of like when music's just like a stream of thoughts.
Me
and you're just
too.
like ranting over
Yeah.
music or whatever.
Yeah, it's like an exciting rant that you kind of like can like match the energy with. Yeah. All right. So moving on to our last album, which is When Smoke Rises by Toronto artist Mustafa. Just a background, he's a Canadian poet, singer, songwriter, and filmmaker from Toronto. And in his early days, he was known for writing poems about poverty in Africa and poverty in like where he grew up in Toronto, which is in an area called Regent Park, which is undergone a lot of renovations recently, but still like for a while there's a lot of like gang violence and gun violence that took place in this like neighborhood, even like within the last decade. So a lot of his art and like his music springs from just like his experience with this. And so in this album specifically, he confronts a lot of like grief. But I like the folky undertones, which is not something like you hear a lot in like, I guess, R&B music. He's also nominated for a Juno, which is Alternative Album of the Year. So that is super exciting. And yeah, I really did just like emotionally connect with this album. And yeah, I've been listening to it kind of on repeat recently. This album did hit me on different levels because he talks about his experiences with love and loss. So like if anyone has like ever like lost a friend or lost a family member, I think that this album was like really good just to kind of like have someone singing about this particular thing that you can kind of connect with. And I thought it was beautiful how he found a way to like write about the loved ones that he's lost in like very specific manners, while also kind of like sending them a message or like saying goodbye and kind of questioning where he's at and what he's going to do. So, in particular, Stay Alive and Air Forces are songs that like are themed like about protecting loved ones, keeping loved ones safe, and like trying to like prevent or like being scared that you're gonna like lose someone you love. So yeah, those were 2 like difficult kind of like songs to hear, but like also I think that you don't have to listen to this album if you're grieving. Like you can also listen to this album if you just like kind of kind of poetry mixed with like light like I want to say acoustic guitar folk. He also includes a lot of like sampling of like his voice like in conversations, kind of like voicemail messages and like chanting, and he's in this album he makes a lot of like references to like his religion and connection to like God, and I thought that was nice too. And yeah, in general, he's very soft spoken, but he deals with like very heavy content as a vocalist. So what did you guys think?
Like the same way, just the way he connects to you through his music, and like his writing is absolutely poetic.
Yeah.
I
think he started out as a poet before like transitioning into like making music.
Oh, that's really interesting. But you can definitely tell that with his like the writing, the lyrics, just I think that really hit home for me.
Yeah.
Just the powerful messages. Like how you said, like stay alive. I wrote down some lyrics throughout like the different songs that stood out to me. There's one, all of these traps and all these street signs. So it's like with violence, it's you got to be careful where you're going.
Yeah.
Always not just look out for yourself, but for those you care about, because if you get caught up in something, then it can turn very dangerous very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah, that one hit pretty deep too. There's also like the hearse, which has like an interesting opener that I can't name the instrument. I don't think it's an instrument. It might just be like a sound generated from like I don't know, like not GarageBand, but a more advanced version of GarageBand. But like the song's kind of about like he says the lyric, there's a war outside and I can't choose right or wrong. And he initially talks about like having a family to feed and like wanting to focus on like his family and the people he loved, and like not wanting to participate in like war in whichever like context this war is in. But like he talks about like losing a friend, and then just like the anger of like being ignited inside of him about like the loss. And then like yeah, like he says, my patience and my peace, I feel all the rage for you. And yeah, I like, yeah, just like the poetry, just mostly like the lyricism here, like that is kind of like filled with folky undertones, is just like something that I can listen to like on a walk while I'm studying, or just like when I'm in my feels.
Yeah, listening to the album was a very emotional experience. I feel like I didn't have any favorites because a lot of them stood out to me, like for really a lot. But one of them that I liked a lot was What About Heaven, which like is about like losing someone you're close with, sort of like in your adolescence, when you're just starting to like do like normal, teenage kid things, like talking about girls and like talking about your futures and doing those things, but you don't realize until they're gone like that you never talked about like heaven. And how that was sort of more important than all of it, but also you never got to it because you were so young.
Yeah,
and that really
you're a
hit me.
kid. You're like a kid.
Friends. Yeah. So that just made me I had to listen to that album multiple times. It made me very emotional.
Yeah. On that point, he does make a lot of like references to like growing up in his like childhood, and in Allie in particular, I think he might be talking about, I hope, the same like friend that he's losing. And I think that he's probably lost a lot of friends because that's kind of what he's talked about. But he's like, I go back to when we were like 13, 15, 17, and like just like us running around smiling, laughing, and like now everything is so much darker. So yeah, he does make a lot of like, and it just makes you realize that like there is this like community and support system where he is, and like a lot of the people in that community have been like killed. So yeah, but there is a sense of community like in his songs. Like I know in I think it was Stay Alive, you can hear like a single voice as like a layer at the beginning, and then it quickly becomes like clapping and then chanting of like and several voices, so it gives that effect that there's like a community support system. Yeah. Well,
it's so hard to talk about this album.
It is. It's like just to like.
It's one of those songs it's one of those albums you have to listen to and feel it.
You have to like actively listen to it.
It's almost like hard to describe the feeling you get from the album, just because it can really resonate with anyone. And sometimes in only like certain moments, I guess, can it like really like catch you. Like I guess it would be hard to resonate with it, like obviously if you were like in a social situation. I don't know if, like, I guess it could work, but I don't know. For me, like I usually listen to this album alone, and like
It has made me cry many times. All right. So, yeah, that's about it. Oh, I also wanted to mention that there's like a piano concerto like song in this album called Capo, where it's just like a piano and then his voice like goes over it. And anyway, it's very pure and touching. And yeah, so I guess we can sign off at that point. Do you guys have any last comments to say? Being soon done with exams or soon starting exams.
Oh, yeah.
And any wise words to students out there that might be stressing?
Don't listen to It's All Futile, It's All Pointless if you until after exams.
Yeah.
Listen after.
And same with the last album, because just listen to some upbeat music, because I promise you we'll get through this, guys. Like,
Yeah, especially if you're one of those people that music just like determines your mood.
yeah.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
watch yourself.
Like, maybe don't listen to some songs.
Listen to
just
the-
to keep your upbeat mood
Yeah.
after exams.
Listen to the
You
CFMU
can.
spring playlist.
Yes, listen to the CFMU spring playlist and exam study playlist. That's
And
coming out
exam
next
study
week.
playlist. Listen to these after exams.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Once again, I'm Olivia.
I'm Jillian.
And I'm Malak.
And have a great Thursday, everybody.